Bethany's quirks. Oh boy.
Quirks. He has a bunch.
She
If I'm done with the razor, done with the shampoo,
is kind of impatient.
I put it down certain places, you know, where, you know, I'll pick it up, and if he doesn't like it there, he moves it.
You know, I like to clean up when we're done with something, and she just kind of lets it be.
So constantly when I'm getting in the shower, I find my stuff in the place that David wants it instead of where I want it.
Sometimes she talks too much, I guess.
He makes the bed right before he gets in it.
But that's okay, because otherwise we'd sit in silence.
Not when he gets up in the morning, but right before he gets in the bed.
So, I like the talking. Bethany and I met, and she's gonna say this, it's not as bad as it sounds.
It sounds a lot more scandalous than it is.
When she was in high school.
I think I was 14.
And I was a sophomore at UNL.
He was my assistant speech coach, I guess would be the title.
Just kind of talked a lot all the time.
He would help me out with my events and stuff, and we just got to kind of be buddies.
To the point where her coach actually wouldn't let us talk or do work together anymore.
Just to be a little more productive, I guess.
First impression of Bethany?
His sense of humor.
She was young.
He's really, really easy to talk to.
She was easy to talk to.
I could always poke fun at him and he would, you know, shove it right back.
She was a fun person. We joked a lot.
That's kind of how our friendship started.
It's weird because she was in high school, so we weren't thinking along any lines of dating.
I don't think it was a date. I think it was just kind of like, come hang out.
So our first date.
I don't know. Maybe it was a date. I'm not sure.
Well, how that came about, how we came about.
I invited him to my graduation party.
We got to just kind of talking there, and I said to her, if she ever wants to talk about, you know, college or her future or anything like that, I'd be happy to meet up with her and talk to her about that.
I think he asked me at one point to go to like an after dinner date with him.
I guess just kind of hit it off at that moment. We went to Village Inn.
We went and had pie at Village Inn.
It was kind of an awkward little exchange.
He was a little older than I was, so it was a little freaky.
And eventually it led to us seeing each other more often, talking even more often.
For the first few months, we kind of tried to keep it a secret.
The age gap?
You know, it is a 7-year age difference.
I act a little bit younger than I am, and she acts a lot older than she is.
Once I think we could both kind of see a future together is when we kind of approached people about it.
It officially became dating.
I think probably when I went off to college.
We did not think it was going to work out with me being in Omaha, her being in Des Moines.
So I think at that point you kind of either decide you're going to go for it or if you're going to part ways.
But for some reason we just kept talking, kept hanging out.
Yeah, we went for it.
Until I eventually said, what the hell, I'm moving to Des Moines. The first kiss.
So here's the thing.
The first kiss was...
It was after that Village Inn date I was talking to you about.
Bethany will remember, so she'll tell you.
He had Toulouse out in the car, I guess, and wanted me to come see Toulouse. And so I went out and he asked if I wanted to go for a drive. And sorry, Mom, I got in this man's car and we went and drove around.
I can't remember when it was, but we were in a park.
We just ended up kind of walking around and chatting.
And I stopped her and we looked at each other.
And I think he actually asked if he could kiss me at that point, and I told him he could. It was alright with me.
I leaned down and kissed her.
I think he was nervous. I think we both were.
It was one of those, you just kind of smile at each other and go on with the walk.
I think it's hard to just pick one moment when you just know. I think I knew for a long time.
I would say deep down, there's always been this sense that she is important to me, that she's someone that I really, really get along with and I really care about. So that would be all the way back to when we first met.
I think when he moved to Des Moines, you know, when someone moves and kind of puts their career on hold that way, because Des Moines wasn't part of his career plan. So when he did that for me, I think that's kind of when you know, oh, this guy is serious.
It's those times when we're just sitting down together and just talking, and all of a sudden I'll just realize there's nothing better than spending time with this girl.
And he always makes me smile, and he always makes me laugh.
Her smile is amazing, and her laugh.
I love David's family, you know, you and his parents and his extended family, his aunts, cousins.
Just her ability to keep a conversation going, and she's fun to talk to, and she's very intelligent.
You know, you really have to love each other's families too, and our families really get along.
I learn a lot from listening to her talk. She gets a lot of that from her parents.
You can kind of start, you know, planning your future out in your mind a little bit.
Just know. There's no question, you just know. The proposal, everybody that's close to me knows this long, dang story.
So we went to New York.
I made this grandiose trip, which was a Christmas gift for Bethany to see the 4th of July fireworks.
I think when someone does something like that for you, at that point in our relationship, I kind of thought maybe.
Engagement wasn't. It was kind of a thought, but it wasn't something I was really seriously thinking about.
But then he got my best friend Jess, like, on his team.
And her friend told me, Bethany's thinking you're gonna propose. So you're kind of stuck in it now, and so I decided, well, there's no question, now I have to, but now I have to make her think it's not gonna happen. At
one point he told me, I don't want you going and watching the fireworks and then being disappointed when I don't propose at the end of it all. I was like, that's so mean, what a butthead thing to say. I
asked her parents maybe a month before we left.
And set them both down, which I think is very cool, and then they approved. They like him.
We were supposed to fly out.
It was kind of a journey getting there.
We get to Chicago for our layover and our flights get canceled.
They just kept pushing it back and pushing it back.
8 o'clock at night comes around and they've canceled all flights to New York.
And it's just not like David to be so stressed.
I was super nervous about and super neurotic about getting to New York.
He was losing his mind.
So we rented a car.
So angry.
And we hit the road at 10 o'clock p.m.
And driving 16 hours overnight to New York.
Luckily they extended the stay and they extended our flight one more day, so we got to stay another day anyway.
On the 4th of July we went to Brooklyn.
The whole day I'm thinking, when am I going to do this?
And little beknownst to me, he'd been carrying this really sharp, pointy ring box around in his pocket all day.
Stupid sharp edges on it.
Looking back, I can kind of see he was maybe like actually a little on the cranky side.
So we get to the fireworks finally, and I decided I'm gonna do it at the fireworks.
These newlyweds joined us.
But that never worked out.
They were making it kind of awkward because they were talking about their honeymoon and their wedding.
There was no way it was gonna happen there.
So we saw the fireworks.
So then I decided that I'd do it on the Brooklyn Bridge.
We ended up having to walk back miles longer than we were supposed to because the Brooklyn Bridge got shut down.
So we didn't do that.
I was in tears almost. My feet hurt so bad and we were tired.
It was cold, it was windy, there were people everywhere.
Finally, you know, we took a subway system to somewhere where we thought there would be food because we were both starving.
And we get off.
So we were just walking and walking.
All I kept thinking in my mind was, at this point, you know what, who cares? Just hand her the box and just do it. Right as I thought that, we came around a corner.
On this really quiet, really pretty residential street.
Your typical TV, movie scene of this, you know, house in Manhattan with this small staircase that leads up to the door.
And he said, well, this looks like as good of a spot as any.
It couldn't have worked out better. People, the entire block was cleared out.
And I thought he meant a good place to sit down, so I sat.
And I didn't even sit, I went straight to a kneel, and that's when I asked him.
I think I took the ring from him, actually.
So I put it on her.
I was crying, and I couldn't remember what he just said.
And then she takes it off and she hands it back to me and she goes,
I asked him to say it all again.
So I had to propose a second time.
I think he just said, you know, he was really excited to spend the rest of his life with me. And
just, yes, of course.
And it sounds like kind of this gross cliche, but you know, he really is my best friend.
She just kept looking at the ring and was very happy, and I was happy. We were both in tears, and finally it was kind of one of those things where like, well, we gotta go eat. So yeah, and then to finish it off, the restaurant was closed. And from that point on, it went wonderfully. We had perfect weather and everything was roses and butterflies. That was a big mistake.
Whoops.
I got her number from good old Facebook.
She asked me, he's not older than 25, is he?
Facebook friends, I guess you could say.
He wasn't older than 25.
She'll tell everybody she said she's loved me longer.
Us ladies, we like it when the guy says it first, I guess.
That's a good story too. Okay.
Kind of looked at him and smiled and he got all embarrassed. It was awesome.
I've said a bunch of mumble jumble.
Calling each other soulmates and things like that. I'm like,
I think that covers it. I think I've covered everything.
Big fancy hotel, David style hotel.
So, yeah, that's it.